Why can't my hair go inwards? Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Certifeye Tropical Wonders palette. I have seen a lot of hype about this palette and I have been wanting to try it out for over a year now, I believe. And I just never got the chance to buy it, but they just had a 40% off sale, so I had to snatch her up. This is what she looks like on the inside. She is so beautiful. I love just staring at this palette, honestly. It's all matte and it's a full rainbow scheme, which I obviously love because I love colors. I'm not really like a neutral brown colored makeup fan, so I really appreciate this palette and I hope it performs well. This palette retails for £30, which is about 35 euro, I believe, and I think it's about like $40, which you get a lot of product in each pan, so I don't mind the price. The only thing that kind of threw me off and why I didn't buy this palette for the longest time is because the shipping is pretty ridiculous. I paid 11 euro for this to be shipped to Germany from the UK. But that doesn't really matter, so we're gonna test her out. If this performs well in my eyes, I probably will have this as my new favorite colorful palette because it has literally every color you need to create any colorful look. So I'm gonna stop talking and I'm gonna start putting this on my face. By the way, this video is not like a first impression sort of thing. I had a play with this yesterday. I tried to do a look yesterday with the blues and I can say that I struggled with the blues a little bit. So I used this shade and this shade, and this shade was just very patchy on my eyes. So I'm gonna kind of try to stay away from the blues today and go more for the warm tone colors to see if those work the same or if they're patchy as well. I don't know if it was because of my eyes, my base. I tried it like 2 or 3 different times. Alright, so you are all zoomed in and I'm gonna prime my eyes like I always do, just using concealer. This is the Maybelline Fit Me concealer in the shade 15. And I basically just put like a really generous amount all over my eye. And then usually I just take my finger or a beauty sponge or a brush, doesn't really matter, and just pat it in. I'm gonna take a Makeup Addiction shader brush. It's just like a really nice, dense little flattish brush. And I'm gonna go straight into the color Sunray. It is this vibrant yellow. And it's honestly really hard to find decent yellows, so I'm really excited to try this one out. I'm just gonna stamp this into my inner corner portion of the eye. And, ooh. I like stamping the eyeshadow in first and then blending it out just to get the maximum pigmentation possible onto my lid. That's actually really nice. Now I'm going to take a fluffier brush. This is the Makeup Addiction Tapered Blender brush. Gonna pick up a little bit of that yellow, just the tiniest amount, and gonna try to blend upwards using circular motions. Now I'm gonna go into this orangey shade. It is called Toucan, I'm not sure how to say that. But I'm just gonna pick her up on a Anastasia Beverly Hills A6 brush and do the same thing and kind of place that in the middle. That went on really nice as well. Now I'm going to go into the shade called Red Sea, which is a really nice vibrant red shade. I'm really curious about this shade to see if, I mean, there's a lot of pigment on there. My poor brush is going to be so stained. But I want to see how this performs. Ooh. Damn, she's definitely there. Just carefully do the same thing in circular motions, blend it into the orange and upwards. That's blending really well into the orange, but I'm just gonna take that orange again and kind of go over where I placed the red, and this is gonna make it look even more blended. Now I'm gonna take the shade Honeycreeper, which is a nice plum purple reddish color. You know, I'm really bad at explaining colors, but I'm gonna take her and kind of like do it in the outer corner-ish. This is a Makeup Addiction Diffuse Blender brush. Same thing, I'm just gonna stamp. And blend. I don't know if you're able to see that, but in this area right here where I tried to stamp the color down, it's a little patchy. I'm gonna try to fix it. But it's really not too big of a deal. I just believe that this color kind of disappears once you try to blend it out. You can see, let me zoom you in. You can see the patchiness right there. Like always though, I'm gonna give it the benefit of the doubt, and maybe it's just my base or my eye just sucks. So we're gonna keep going, but I do see that it's quite patchy right there. It doesn't want to work with me. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna move on. What I'm gonna do now is take some micellar water from Garnier and I'm gonna put it on a Q-tip and basically cut my crease. I like doing it this way because then the eyeshadow doesn't mix with the concealer, and it's basically the same thing, just way easier. I'm not gonna wing it out all the way because I want to add some of the purple and blues and greens kind of going inward, so I'm just gonna leave it like this and apply some more concealer like on the outer portion. I'm gonna take a clean brush, this is from Tease Cosmetics, number 42 brush, and go into the shade called Starling, which is the darker purple shade, and I'm gonna kind of connect the other purple with the dark purple. I'm using a pencil brush for this so I can really pack on the color. I'll take some more of the red and blend the two together. Now I'm going to take the green shade, which is called Swamp, which totally reminds me of Shrek. I'm going to take this on a Morphe M149 brush. It's a really nice little pencil brush. And I'm going to kind of blend that into the purple, which is probably a bad idea because purple and green just make a pretty ugly color, but we're going to try it out. The last shade I'm going to use is Fruit Dove. It's just this nice like pastel-y green shade, and I'm going to put that in the inner corner. Okay, that shade doesn't really want to show up, so I'm just going to put some concealer down and try it again. Oh yeah, that's a lot better already. Okay, that is the top pretty much done. I think I will add some gloss right here, but I'm going to do that at the very end. For now, I'm going to take the shade Starling again, the one that I have on the outer edge, and I'm going to drag that on the underneath of my lash line. Now I'm going to use this shade that I had an issue with yesterday, so I'm going to try her out again. It's called Atlantic. It's a really nice blue and it's really pigmented. It just got a little patchy, so I'm going to see how it performs like underneath my eye and to see if it's still patchy or not. I am quickly just gonna do my other side and pop on some lashes, and then I'll be back to tell you my final thoughts. So I have basically finished this look. I did the same thing on this side, and now where I cut my crease, I'm gonna add some gloss. You guys already know I love glossy cut creases. My favorite is the Essence Shine 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 Wet Look Lip Gloss, the best one I've used for glossy lids and also super affordable. What I do is I'll just take this on the back of my hand, about like 2 swipes. You don't really need more since it's really thick. I'm gonna use kind of a flat brush that I always use for gloss just so I don't ruin another one, because once you get gloss in your brushes, I don't think there's any returning. So I am gonna use this one and I'm gonna pick some up on my brush, and I'm basically gonna like push my lashes down and just fill the clear part in with gloss. I'm also going to put a little bit in the inner corner, just the tiniest amount, just give that a glossy look as well. I'm going to take that same gloss and just pop it on my lips for something simple. I don't really feel like doing a lot to my lips today, so this is the way to go. Okay, so this is the final look. I honestly am not like obsessed with it. I don't know if I like it like too much, but I definitely like it more than the look I did yesterday. Let's start out with the things I do like. I really like the packaging and how it flips up. It's very different than usual palettes that are horizontal. This one is vertical. I really like that. Another thing I really like about this palette, that they are all mattes, there are no shimmer shades, and they are all colorful. I loved using the warm shades. The red, like especially this row, was really nice. The green is also really nice. I haven't used the black gray. I don't think I've used this color or like any of these. I used the white a little bit, which is a really good white. But let's get into the things that I don't like about this palette. What I don't like about this palette is that the blue shades go a bit patchy on me. You couldn't really tell today because I did it underneath. But yesterday I tried 3 different times, 3 different techniques to try to blend it out, and every time it was patchy, unfortunately. Blue shades are usually harder to formulate for companies, but I'm not going to use that as an excuse because I have some blue shades that work perfectly, that I don't have any issues with. For example, the shadow from Sample Beauty, the single shadow in Royal, I believe. The best blue I've ever used. It is not patchy, it is pigmented, blends amazingly, no issues with it whatsoever. But in this palette, I did have several issues with the blues, especially also with the Honeycreeper shade. It went a little patchy over here. I don't know how well you're gonna be able to tell on camera. You can kind of see it right here too. It just went a little patchy, but like I said, like this row I had no issues with whatsoever. They look very vibrant. They blended into each other really nicely. I was most excited about the blues. But I can still work with this palette. I can still use like the warmer shades, and maybe I'll try again to play around with the blue shades. This shade is a little more hard to work with. It's more of a pastel shade, which again is kind of harder to formulate. But it was just kind of more sheer than the other ones. Another thing I'm going to mention again, I find it very disappointing that I paid €11 shipping. There was nothing in there but the palette, so I would really appreciate it if there was an order summary or some kind of note saying how much I paid for it and when it was shipped and all of that. That was unfortunately not in there, which I find very important because I want to be able to see how much I spend on stuff, just like the general order summary. And again, if I'm paying €11 for shipping, I expect it to at least be like in a little package and not a padded envelope because things can break very easily. Personally, that's how I feel. If you think that's nonsense, that's fine. That's just how I feel. Also, just a little disclaimer, just because some of these shadows in this palette didn't work for me, doesn't mean they're not gonna work for you. If you have this palette and it works for you, that's awesome. But for me, it just didn't work out the way I wanted it to and the way I hoped it to. But if you do have this palette and you do have similar issues, or if you don't have similar issues, if you have no issues at all, I would appreciate you telling me that, so I can try to make it work somehow and like maybe try different techniques, different bases, different brushes, just I don't know, sometimes you just have to kind of work with shadows a different way than I usually do. Right now I'm kind of in the middle of deciding if I can recommend this palette or not, but right now it is no, just because I'm not going to recommend you guys something because it didn't work for me. So I'm not going to go and recommend this to you guys and say it's like the best colorful matte palette ever, because it's not. In my opinion, I have tried better eyeshadows. I hope you guys found this helpful in one way or another. You know, not everything is gonna work out the way I want it to. And yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys have a good night or good day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you next time. Bye.